For a lot of people, patience is the hardest mental trait for them to master. And I think it goes back to the idea that human beings are hardwired, for lack of a better term, for instant gratification. Instant gratification means, you want something now. You want fulfillment or gratification, or in our case, as traders, you want the profits now. You don't want to wait. Now, I'm not sure, but probably this human nature towards instant gratification comes from, the part of the brain which we can call the primitive brain or the ancient brain. It's the part of the brain, the limbic system, which was designed or is there to protect us. It was really from very early human beings when we were, not much higher level than animals, when it was just about pure survival. I mean, we needed to know where the next food was coming from. We needed to know where our shelter was going to be. We needed protection from other threats. Okay, so this instant gratification was this need for the basic things now because that determined our survival. But in the modern day, in today's day and age, where for most of us our basic needs are taken care of, like we don't have to worry about where our next meal is coming from, at least most people don't. We don't have to worry about where we're going to sleep tonight and so on and so forth. This is a leftover of the ancient brain, this need for instant gratification. And it is an irrational need because it no longer applies to today. Yet so many people allow this need to dictate their lives, okay? And we see it very often with the trading. Having to wait costs you nothing, okay? But if you think about the whole body of trading instruction, let's call it, or trading wisdom, and starting with, you know, um, stop losses, take losses. This all emanates from this instant gratification idea that, if we don't get a profit right away, then take a loss. Like, nobody tells you, there's nothing in there, none of this instruction ever tells you to just wait. If that's the other option that you have. There is no cost to waiting. And somebody might say, well, there is a cost. There's an opportunity cost, but that is another manufactured false, rationality of the whole thing. What is my opportunity cost? Look, I waited 3 months to get a profit on my euro pound. First of all, what's 3 months in a lifetime? It is nothing. Okay. Second of all, this claim or this assertion that there's opportunity cost. That is again implying this false assumption that if you get out now, there's something else you can do that's going to make you a profit. You don't know that. Everything we do is at some level guesswork, okay? And I've always stated that. So this is again, the thing that I've pointed out in the past with this false wisdom of cut your losses short and let your profits run. It's just bogus because built into that is this false assumption that if you cut your losses short, it would have went to a bigger loss. You don't know that. How many times have you cut your losses and it turns right around and turns into a profit? And on the flip side of that, how many times did you have a profit wanting it to run and it turns around into a loss? That happens all the time. So this is not wisdom at all. This is poor, bad advice. And this is why most people lose, because the advice out there is wrong. So overcoming this kind of natural instinctive behavior of wanting instant gratification, that's what flows into, or that's what drives the lack of patience. That's what drives this false teaching or false wisdom of stop losses. I mean, the whole concept of stop losses is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. You can manage risk in other ways that don't require you and kind of say that losses are a good thing. I've always said that losing is a choice. People lose because they choose to lose. I choose to win. And I've had many conversations. I had a thing on here several months ago. I guess, what was it, back in August or something, when I was long oil, and I had a subscriber at the time. And, the guy kept emailing me relentlessly, incessantly, just harassing me every day. Why don't you use a stop loss? Why don't you use a stop loss? Why don't you use a stop loss? You could stop yourself out and then get back in at another price. You don't know that. That is a false assumption. That is a claim you are making, that you know the future, that you can get out and get back in no problem and make it. You don't know that. So what happened? I made a profit. I made a huge profit on that oil trade. The guy dropped out. He quit. That's the other thing. Okay, we could even extend this conversation and this topic about instant gratification to the quitters. The quitters are the ones who want the instant gratification. They, for some reason, it's not that they're not capable of waiting, but they have chosen that they have allowed this primitive part of their brain to take control of them. And again, this is an irrational drive. It's something that's irrational, because again, there is no cost to waiting. There is no harm to you from waiting. And waiting is, in every case, the difference between profit and loss. Those who don't want to wait, they choose to lose. Now think about it. It's an amazing concept. And even as I say it, as the words come out of my mouth, it's astonishing, because it's so clear and it's so obvious. If you lose, if it's not working for you, that is your choice. I've talked about motivation. Some people, everybody comes into this game of trading thinking that they want to make money. But really, deep down inside, most people don't want to make money. They come into it for another reason. They come into it for the action, the excitement, to be able to go to a party and tell people, I'm a trader. And some people even come into it to lose, to expressly lose. They might not be aware of that. They might think they're coming in to make money and be a big, profitable trader, but they're coming in to lose. Now, if you want to win, it's there for you, but you have to embrace the behavior. You have to employ the behavior that's going to make you or allow you to win. It's like these people who say it's not my style. That's an amazing statement. There's only two styles. There's winning and there's losing. If you come into my program, which has never had a loss, and you say it's not my style, then whether you admit it to yourself or not, your style is losing. It is losing. And what's interesting about these people, and I've talked about these people before, I call them self-flagellators or deniers. These people, deep down inside in their deep psyche, they don't deem themselves as worthy of anything good. So whenever something good starts to happen, it creates like a dissonance in their brains. It creates stress. Suddenly they're out of their element. They want to, inflict hardship and loss and difficulty and suffering on themselves. And the minute things start going well, they'll find a way to screw it up. They'll quit. Let's say they'll quit the service and they'll make up some rationality that this is not my style. Yeah, which is absolutely true. But they don't understand how it is true. It is true in the fact that their style is they want to lose. So once they put themselves in a position to win or have something nice in their lives, have some happiness, they will screw it up. They will sabotage. They will, change course to get back on the path of losing or unhappiness or discouragement or disappointment, because that is profoundly, deeply what they want. They just don't know it. Now, I said that trading will expose you, and it does to everybody. It did to me. But just because you are exposed does not mean you are going to change the behavior. There's a difference between knowing that your behavior is wrong and then taking the steps to change it. Okay? People might have bad habits. You might smoke, you might overeat, you might do things that are bad for you, and you know that's bad, but you continue to do it, because just having an awareness of the problem does not change the behavior. You have to actively work on changing the behavior. If you are out of shape physically and you know you're out of shape, that doesn't get you back into shape. You have to go to the gym. You have to run. You have to do exercise. You have to eat right, whatever. Those are two different things. So yes, trading will expose you. And I actually had a guy who wrote to me, said, Mike, I've been exposed and I'm dropping out. But so, what is that? You went halfway. So you realized who you are, but now think about it. What your decision was, I realize who I am. I thought I wanted a certain thing. I still want that certain thing. Now I realize who I really am, but I'm not going to work to get that thing that I wanted. It's incredible. It's an incredible admission. It's an incredible exposure of what people do to themselves. Losing is a choice, people. You could win every single time. Every single time. That's not taught to you by anybody but me. But that is a fact. You are taught every other source of trading information or instruction or whatever is going to teach you to lose. And I can't even really blame the people who are teaching those concepts, because they're allowing them the sort of that primitive brain to drive their beliefs, and then they kind of give their beliefs to other people as knowledge, but it's not. Same thing with the MMT. The MMT is the truth. Most people don't want to have it. They want to stick with what is basically a religion for them. So it's a fascinating thing. Think about it. You got to have patience. You cannot let the primitive brain. You got to let the neocortex. I believe that's what it's called. The neocortex is the advanced brain, the rational brain, the logical brain. You got to think with that. All right? It's just like fear. You can't let fear control you. That's the limbic system. That's the ancient brain. Think with the neocortex. All right? How's that for a lesson? Bye.